I cannot play this fucking game while being Spartacus. It's so fucking hard.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Jupiter's CROCK. My name is Matthew. Joining me, laughing at my misery from last week, my final hand there, is Ronan.
Yep. Totally last week. Happened last week.
You just can't get cocky. Literally, just cannot get cocky on Jupiter's CROCK. And Steve, also known as Spartacus.
Yep, I am here for the wines and questionable women.
So, I think we were all. I mean, we didn't hate last week's episode of Spartacus, but we were probably
we had a whole week to think about it, so
yes.
you probably grew on us.
Yeah,
it didn't go on me.
Now we get into episode 5 of season 2 called Libertus, and Ronan, without spoiling anything, I'm just going to throw it out there. You enjoyed this episode, is that correct?
A much better episode. Much better episode.
Okay. Well, Spartacus.
Spartacus. I don't know where that's coming from, but yeah.
That's a whole different show. Spartacus, start us into why Ronan was very happy with this episode.
So, Oenomaus, Rhescos, and Crixus are out on the sand. They are about to be executed ad gladiatorum, or whatever the phrase is. Gladiators are coming in to kill them. And the gates open, and out comes the execution squad. Ronan, who is leading this group?
Fucking Gannicus. The crowd is chanting.
Gannicus.
Gannicus. The crowd's chanting. The hype level is real.
Yep, and Oenomaus and Gannicus have a little back and forth where Oenomaus is basically like, did you fuck my wife? And Gannicus is like,
yep.
Define fucking, and Oenomaus just attacks him. And then we cut back to the day before, and Spartacus is still on his fucking woodland adventure, but they find a temple. And so they go into the temple, and there is a Roman there. And at first, the Roman pulls a bow and arrow and aims it at Spartacus. And so there's a standoff, but then he hears the name Spartacus, and he's like, "Ah, fuck yeah, Spartacus rules." And so this Roman guy,
fanboy.
Yep, he invites Spartacus in, and even though he is a Roman, he is all about Spartacus because he doesn't consider himself a Roman anymore. He doesn't give a shit about the Romans because Romans basically killed his family and took everything he had, and so he buddies up with Spartacus and his crew and lets Spartacus basically stay at this temple. Is he just homeless and living there? I don't know. But there's a temple now, and Spartacus is going to live there for a while. But then the guy lets it slip that the rumor in Rome is that basically you've been defeated or you're on the verge of defeat, and to punctuate that, some of your men are going to be killed in the arena, and dude bro Lucius doesn't necessarily know their names, but he's heard that one of them is identified as the undefeated Gaul, and so Navia's like, oh sweet, Crixus is alive.
We didn't even talk about Navia last week. Navia's got PTSD. She got PTSD. She's getting everybody killed. She's freaking out. Yeah. She's running around when they're trying to hide. She's a problem.
She did nothing. Hashtag Agron was right. And there's actually a scene in this. This is as good a time as any to talk about it. But Navia is lamenting the fact that I prayed every day for to be reunited with Crixus, and then I get rescued just to learn that he's going to now die in the arena. You should have left me in the mines. And Agron's like, I tried to tell him, and I actually love that he's not backing down. He's not like, oh, I'm sorry, I was wrong. I should have helped them. He's like, no, I tried to convince them to leave your ass. And Navia understands, she gets it. She's not upset with him at all. I think at this point she would have preferred to be left in the mines, because now she thinks that Crixus is going to die, and there's no possible way to rescue him. And then so Agron and Crixus have a conversation, and Spartacus is like, man, it'd be fucking dumb to attack the arena, right? So anyways, let's plan on that attack. And so they are going... Spartacus is going to launch an attack on the arena to try to rescue Crixus and crew.
And to send a message,
kind of,
Steve. Don't forget to send a message to Rome.
Send a message. We also see what happens to Glaber and Asher. Asher has brought the body of Marcus, Glaber's buddy, back, and basically Glaber kind of holds Asher responsible for not catching Spartacus, because all of Marcus's men got wiped out by Spartacus, and Glaber's like, I've had enough of your shit, Asher, and so he's planning on sending Asher out to the arena and to be executed with Crixus and Rascos and Onomaeus. We saw the flash forward already. We know he's not there, so what happens to him? So Asher is in chains, and he has a meeting with Xena where they make a plan. The plan is Xena is very, very upset because for all throughout season 1, Xena was lamenting the fact that she and Badiatus never had a baby, and she goes through a fertility ritual. She's got some baby fever at this point, and so she finds out that Alithia is going to have an abortion. There's a vial of something that she's some sort of poison that's going to kill the fetus. And so Xena is very obviously upset by this. She wanted a baby in the house of Badiatus for so long, and now potentially it's going to be one, and Alithia is going to kill it. And so she convinces Alithia that you shouldn't do it yet. She says I forced this on many slaves to not have baby problems.
Badiatus is having illegitimate children all the time.
So she recognizes this abortion drug, and she tells Alithia, well, if you take this, you're going to be sick and bleeding for days, and we have got the games coming up. If you're not there, the people will talk. So how about you hit the pause button on this, and you wait to take this drug after the games? And Alithia's like, okay, we're friends again, so I believe you. And so then fucking Xena immediately goes to Asher, who's chained up. He's like, hey, I want you to steal the abortion drug and swap it out with just this water and bitter herbs or something. Basically, we want Alithia to think she's going to abort the baby, but she's actually not. And then when the baby survives this abortion drug, I'll present it as, it's the will of the gods that this baby was born. I don't necessarily remember why she was outside of baby fever, why she wanted this to happen, but she's going to say that it was the will of the gods that this baby be born. And so Asher, go steal the abortion drug and don't get caught.
I love Asher and that. Asher's like, what the fuck? How am I supposed to walk around and get this shit? And she's like, I got you. I used to be the domino of this house. I got you. And hands him the key.
Yes. And so Asher does this, or he uses this knowledge, and at this point we don't know, is this also a part of Xena's plan, or is Asher going rogue? Because Asher, knowledge in his head that Alithia has this abortion drug, he goes to Glaber. And so he tells Glaber, hey, your wife's pregnant, she's got some abortion juice in there. I'm guessing you're not on board with this, and so if you want to protect your baby,
sweet abortion,
you need to go have a talk with her. And so Alithia goes back to her room, and she finds Glaber there. And I don't know that we mentioned it at the end of the last episode, but at the end of last episode, Alithia and Alithia's dad and Verinius are all in on the plan for Alithia to get a divorce, and then go marry Verinius. And everyone's like, let's keep Glaber out of the loop. And so Glaber, he kind of figures things out because he confronts Alithia about the abortion drug, and he's like, is there really, you're really gonna kill my baby? Like, remember the love that we used to have? Like, are we really so far gone? And Lithia's like, yeah, I don't love you anymore. I'm
she's
leaving
ice
you.
cold to him. Man.
Yeah, she's like,
Ice
you
cold.
are not. She's like, you are not worthy of me anymore. And so she's like, and Glaber can't say anything to this. Like, at this moment,
Do you think she
Alithia
said that
has
to anybody in
won.
real life?
Uh,
You are not worthy of me anymore. Kick
I
it
mean,
to the
she
curb.
should. It's factually correct. But at this moment, like, she's won. Like, Glaber is just shut down. Like, he has no recourse here. He knows that it's him against Verinius and Alithia and Alithia's dad. And so Alithia's like, come on, let's go to the games. We will present ourselves as husband and wife one last time. But then at the end of the games, I'm leaving with Verinius. And Glaber's just like, well, fuck. And so Glaber goes to the games with everyone. And
tail between his
boy,
legs.
He is not having a good time. And so I feel like we're skipping over a bunch, but it doesn't matter. Like the finale, like Spartacus is going to fucking destroy the arena, and so he and Mira and Agron and a group of slaves, they make a big speech. They tell Lucius, like, hey, if I don't come back, lead my people to safer lands away from Rome. But we're gonna go get Crixus back. And so
He's my boy.
They basically like sneak in through a sewer. And so like a question that I have is like, what happens to the bodies? Because you have a scene where there's just a guy like chopping the arms and legs off of dead bodies and then throwing their entrails in the sewer. Like, what did the Romans do with these bodies?
I don't know, but when Liam McIntyre came up out of that water, it looked like he had pink eye.
Yes, it did. They all had
Permanent
pink eye.
Yes. They go diving through a sewer to get to the underside of the arena where Spartacus and Agron kill guards and put on the guard uniforms. And then the plan is they are going to go out to the arena and be the arena guard. Meanwhile, the rest of the crew is going to be like pouring oil and pitch under the seating to burn the place down. Before all this, though, we do see we see Gannicus. He shows up, and a Roman guy named Mercado is paying him to come back, and Gannicus is like, yeah, give me some money because I need wine and hookers. And then he goes off and fucks a random girl.
Extended sex scene with Gannicus there. I mean,
Yes.
this dude brings him wine in the middle of it. Makes him
the woman
stop to
tells
pay
him
him.
that
It's
he
hilarious.
fucks like a god. It's great. Gannicus is great in this, but he doesn't do a whole lot in between like the beginning and the end. Like we get one scene that shows like how he was brought to the arena, and then he goes and gets drunk and fucks this woman, and then he doesn't really do anything else until we get back to the end of the episode.
I had a question about this. So they basically hire Gannicus because they want Gannicus to come in and execute Oenomaus and Crixus and whatnot. Was there any thought put to the fact that, well, actually Crixus was a champion and Oenomaus was a champion, and maybe Gannicus is out of his realm a little bit here? I mean, I'm not saying Gannicus is bad. Obviously, he's a champion too, but it's not like he was being thrown up against a couple scrubs. These are like awesome gladiators, and I was a little. I wish they would have done something where Gannicus kind of like acknowledged how great they were or something, or there was even a moment where he's like, well, geez, yeah, this might be a little more difficult. Maybe you should throw some more coin my way or something. Because it just felt like, okay, Gannicus is showing up, but imagine people who have not seen Gods of the Arena. and they just sort of like maybe watch Blood and Sand and they're going straight to this, you'd have no fucking clue who Gannicus was or why he was this awesome, amazing gladiator who would come in and potentially kill Oenomaus and Crixus. So I wish they would have done a little bit more backstory there.
The thought that occurred to me during all this was executing people via gladiator is what got them into this mess in the first place.
It's true.
Like, if they had just executed Spartacus in the first episode, they wouldn't have this problem. If they had just executed Crixus and Oenomaus and Rascos, they wouldn't have the subsequent problems that they're about to have. It's like they learn nothing.
Well, it's like that. Actually, that does. I mean, you joke, but that does check with history, considering how they threw like 6 praetors at Spartacus, historically speaking, before they decided, okay, we might need to send like a consulate or whatever the next rank is with like the actual Roman military, because 6 times in a row they sent a praetor and were like, yeah, take a couple of hundred and get the rest of your troops along the way. I mean, who cares? It's just a slave rebellion. Nobody cares.
Yes. Fool me 6 times, shame on you. Fool me 7 or more times,
and then maybe
can't get fooled again. Anyway, so we're at the end now. Spartacus and Agron are at the gate. They're about to basically let the execution squad out onto the field. We have Verinius and Ilithia and Ilithia's dad, and everyone's up in the Pulvinus. And everyone's just kind of shitting on Glaber, and he is just sitting there with the most like angriest fucking look on his face because he can't do anything. He is lost. Like at this point, he knows that he has lost.
And Ilithia just keeps twisting that knife.
Oh yeah. There's
that moment when they talk about great man, and she's like, "Well, there's none here," or something like that. You're just like, God, she just keeps looking over at him, giving that smile.
Yeah, there's a scene like because before like the way the games and the execution work is like they're just random gladiator fights, and the winner of those fights become the executioners for the final round. And there's a moment where a gladiator dies to another gladiator, and someone says, "Oh, this fight will be remembered for all time." And Ilithia says something like, "Yeah, not all men will be remembered, though." And then like glares at Glaber. Like everyone is shitting on Glaber, and it's great. Ilithia also lets slip to Xena that Glaber discovered the abortion juice, and Xena is like, "Oh fuck, that's not what I told Asher to do." And so like at the beginning, when Asher makes his move, you have no idea like is Asher gone rogue, or is this part of Xena's plan? Well, you know at this point, like, this is clearly not Xena's plan. So Asher at this point has gone rogue. So anyways, it's time for the final fight. One of the other gladiators mentions, one of the nameless gladiators mentions, "Oh, we have the honor to fight alongside Gannicus," and then that perks up Spartacus, because Spartacus has never met Gannicus.
Yeah,
it's true. There's a fair chance he's never heard the name.
Well, he kind of perks up a little bit when
he perks up a little bit when he sees the brand on Gannicus's arm, because that's what he says. He's like you from the house of Badiatus, because he tells him that.
Whether he knew the name or not, he very quickly figures out who this person is.
One would think he would have to have at least heard of him, because they kind of pretty clearly established that Gannicus is a pretty popular person, like well known. I mean, he was like allegedly, don't they say he's like the only slave to have ever won, his freedom in the arena or whatever. I think Gannicus is pretty well known. Spartacus would have heard of him.
I mean,
you would think. I don't know. If he didn't know who Gannicus was, he figures it out quick, and he starts talking to Gannicus like, you were one of Badiatus's men, and you're here to kill your brothers. And Gannicus says, yeah, and kind of like, I guess kind of going back to what Matt was saying, like we kind of learn why Gannicus came back here. He's coming back because if Oenomaus is going to die in the arena, he wants to be the one to give Oenomaus an honorable death. But I love the part where when Spartacus starts talking to Gannicus, there's this cut to Agron, who gets this like, what the fuck are you doing look on your face. Like,
Yeah.
we are not here to be friends with the executioners. His look, he doesn't say anything, but he gives his look, and it's fucking great.
Agron's very worried. He thinks they're going to die in there.
Yeah, he is a mega pessimist, and when
he
when
was
he
correct
and
about
Spartacus
the
are
mines.
in the arena, he was. Hashtag Agron was right.
Justice for Agron.
But anyways, the all the pieces are in place. Agron and Spartacus are in the arena. They're guarding the gate, but they are inside the arena, inside like the fighting pit, wearing full, Roman armor and whatnot. Meanwhile, Mira is leading a group of other gladiators below the seating, and she's setting fire to everything. And Agron is constantly complaining because the fire is taking too long.
I just kept thinking of like Spartacus. He should have just been like, hold. Because Agron's like, now we need to do something now. Like, hold.
Then Razgos gets killed, and they're still, and Spartacus is still like, nope, not yet, not yet.
They have to sit. They watch Rascos die, and Spartacus has to just accept it because he knows that he can't. If he attacks now, he spoils the plan.
Crixus starts getting stabbed.
Yeah,
I mean, they make like Crixus
gets his
die.
ass beat.
I wouldn't go that far.
No, it's an
Crixus
ass
gets
whooping.
his ass beat.
No, he's got his. He's in handcuffs.
It's a certified.
He's in chains.
It's a we didn't like Matt.
He kills like 10
you
people
can get
before
an
that.
ass whooping in chains.
Yeah.
All right.
Rascos dies, and Crixus gets an ass whooping. Oenomaus and Gannicus are having a one-on-one fight, and one of the other random gladiators at one point goes to fight Oenomaus. And Gannicus just goes and like pushes him out of the way, like, no, this is my fight. But eventually, right before Crixus, who had his ass beat, is about to die,
the undefeated Gaul, motherfucker.
he got defeated in this fight.
False.
Right before he is about to die, suddenly the fire picks up and fans, Romans start like falling through the floor. And now finally Spartacus and Agron launch their attack. And so
the worst
this
CG. The worst CG in the
awful
show.
CG.
It's
but
bad.
what bothered me more is that all of the other gladiators, like, they were gladiators. They were also slaves, and there was never a point where Spartacus was like, hey, I'm Spartacus, I'm giving you a chance to join me, please stop trying to kill my friends. No, Spartacus and Agron just go in there and kill all of these other gladiators. That felt very, very strange to me.
Out of character?
Yeah, a little bit out of character. But anyways, like he kills they kill all these other gladiators. They rescue Crixus. Rascos is dead. Then they go to find Oenomaus, and he has been rescued by
Well, you forgot,
Gannicus.
like, that horrible CG like thing fell on Gannicus and Oenomaus.
That was the joke I was about to make, but you ruined it.
Okay.
So
God damn it,
Gannicus survived the terrible like CG flaming wood pile that fell on him, and Oenomaus is just laid out, and so Spartacus and Crixus and everyone they go up to what am I doing? What am I doing in this fucking
There's that
match?
moment. There's that moment where it was like, is Gannicus gonna fight these guys? Or like, are they gonna fuck?
Yeah,
Are they gonna...
they have a standoff, and then Gannicus is just like throws his sword down, is like, help me carry him, and so they get Oenomaus out of there. Gannicus loses his rudis, like the wooden dagger that grants him freedom. He ends up leaving it in the arena. It gets lost in the chaos. So all the gladiators, they rescue everyone but Rascos, and they escape. They make it out. While they are escaping, all of the like really super important people up in the Pulvinus have to escape. Now, something that made me very happy. Spartacus, when he pulls off his helmet and makes it known that this is Spartacus, he and Glaber like eye fuck each other for a minute, and Spartacus picks up a spear and he chunks it and he hits Glaber he scratches Glaber's cheek, but then he impels that child molester Casudius, and it's fucking awesome. Fuck that guy. Fuck
His
you,
face,
Casudius.
he's like, oh, and everyone's like, no,
like, oh!
Casudius.
But so everyone else is fleeing, and so like the big players are Alithya's dad, Verinius, and Glaber, and so everyone is gone except for Glaber and Alithya's dad. Everyone else has died or fled already, and so Alithya's dad takes the time to be like, Glaber, fuck you, this is stupid. Like, Spartacus has embarrassed you again. You are done. You are finished. Your days in the Senate are over. And then he walks away. And then Glaber's like, well, fuck. Well, I guess I should at least try. I should at least try to survive this. And so Glaber flees like shortly after. And as he's fleeing, he finds Alithya's dad, who has been crushed by like falling debris. And Alithya's dad is like, yo, help me, Gaius, help me. And,
this is like the Scar Mufasa moment, kind of.
Yes. and Glaber lifts up this giant pile, this giant like wooden beam that fell on Alithya's dad, and then he gets this look on his face, and he's like, "I'm not the idiot you think I am," and he just starts smashing this giant wooden plank on Alithya's dad, and so Alithya's dad is dead, and so they escape, and Glaber and Alithya. Glaber escapes, and then he finds that Alithya and Verinius have already escaped themselves, and so he goes to Alithya, and Alithya's like, "Where's my dad?" And Glaber's like, he didn't make it, and Alithya breaks down, and Glaber's like, "Oh, don't worry, we'll get through this together as husband and wife." And then Verinius looks at Alithya, and Verinius knows that that's it. No divorce is going to be happening here. Alithya, he doesn't say it, but Alithya is now useless to him, and so he just turns his back and walks away. Alithya is breaking down, knowing that her master plan to marry Verinius has failed, and she is now stuck with Glaber. The end. This episode is fucking awesome.
There's that great moment earlier on in this episode when Alithya feels like she has won, where she's just walking through, like, or maybe that was it, or I don't know. There's again, they kind of run together, but she's just walking around the house of Badiatus, and they're like all the important people there. She got this smile on her face, like, I have won, and then by the end of the episode, she's like, I've lost everything.
From hero to zero. Alithya experienced all the heartbreak and emotion that Matt experienced at that ending hand from last week. She went through all of that.
Very true. There's a microcosm, yes. Ronan, I will turn this over to you. Your boy's Gannicus. Tell me what you thought of this episode.
It was a good episode. Yeah, this was much better than last week's. Again, not saying last week's episode was shit, but this week's episode much better. It's like, this is what we want. Just like the stunning upsets, the action in the arena. Like Gannicus has now re-entered the fray. So we as we knew he would. He was has destined. He doesn't do a super ton in this episode, but this wasn't necessarily about him yet. But we know it's gonna be. We know it's coming. Although, I get the fact that, I think all he really had to tell on Emmaus that was just like, look, man, I'm a slave. I was a slave at the time I was told to do it. I had no choice.
But he actually fell in love with her,
the second and third time, though.
Yeah, because
he
fell in love
with her.
There wasn't a third
time, was there?
He fell in love with her.
There was the second time.
They banged multiple times. That's what's
No.
important.
They banged like
the last
one
time was not ordered by Badiatus or Xena.
Well, you just omit that fact from that.
So lie to your friend is what Ronan's saying, Steve. Lie to your friend.
When swords are involved, you tell a lie.
Okay, Steve, your thoughts on this episode?
I think this episode's great. Spartacus's plan, I thought was a lot of fun. Gannicus coming back was awesome. But very much like last episode, I was much more invested in the Glaber and Alithya stuff than I was the Spartacus thing. But I mean, both parts of that, because they're both both of these plot threads happen alongside one another. Like they were both good, both great. Spartacus was awesome. I thought Lithia and Glaber stole the show again, but episode's fantastic. One of my favorites of the season.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it was, and when Gannicus comes back, you just sort of get that, fuck yeah. All right, Gannicus is finally back. She's like, where is he? Where is he? How are they going to incorporate him back into all this?
How do you feel about the flashback? Like, would it have been more impactful if he had shown up at the end rather than the first 10 seconds and then the words "one day earlier" pop up on screen?
I think so. I generally speaking, I don't think at least with this show, when they're doing the flash forwards and the flashbacks and stuff like that, I don't necessarily think that's the best choice narratively for that. But I think it was in wrestling terms, a great pop at the beginning of the episode, right? You're like, holy shit, because they're setting the stage right. Gannicus is in the arena now against Crixus and Oenomaus and Rascos. And you're like, how the hell are these guys going to get out of this? So I think that's what they were originally going for, was like setting the stage where a fan of the show would be like, how could they possibly get out of this? And I, going way back many years when I first watched this, I know that I didn't think, oh, Spartacus is going to show up and burn the fucking arena to the ground and basically murder tons of people, burn them all. That was not something that was on my radar as what could potentially happen. So, I think on one hand, I do think that it would have worked narratively better if he would have just shown up. But again, you don't have that sort of powerful moment, right, where we would have seen him. What was the first scene he was in, technically, in the flashback? It was just like he was at a market or something, and he wants some coin to, go get some women.
I am light of coin.
Yeah,
a few pieces would steal me to my purpose.
Right. So I think that's not as grand of an entrance. But when he walks in with the swords, and you see Oenomaus see him, and you're like, the history there between the two. You're like, oh shit, how did we get here? So I agree with you in one respect, but I think I like how they did it here.
See, I think I wouldn't have shown Gannicus at all until the end. I wouldn't have had that scene with him drinking wine and.
You don't want the 3-minute long sex scene with Gannicus? You want to cut that out?
They could have put that in another episode. It would have been fine.
Okay.
But I think it would have been cooler if we only see Gannicus at the end. But I mean, whatever. The episode's great. Ronan, what's the historically what happened to the arena? Did fires actually happen to it?
Not that I'm aware of. Like, like the book that I have, it goes over the Spartacus Revolution. I have no clue if the arena in Capua burned down around the same time. It never mentions it. So, I think it was last episode Matt kind of mentioned the whole thing as to how Spartacus keeps this season kind of keeps putting them on the losing end. Historically speaking, he was on the winning end until he defeated 6 Praetor battles before eventually having the one loss before things started to go bad. But historically speaking, he should be just winning after winning after winning because the Romans did not take it seriously. So
I've just looked it up online. Did Spartacus really burn down an arena in Capua? There are no ancient sources that claim that Spartacus burned down an amphitheater. So probably not. Creative liberties.
Liar.
Liberties. I will say the CG in the burning down was awful. I think it was the worst in this entire show. Even going back to the first episode, the CG was atrocious in this and looked terrible on a high-def television.
Not even Blu-rays, and it's real rough.
Oh, it's rad on the Blu-ray, man. It's real. I'm on a 55-inch television with a Blu-ray. I'm like, yikes! When the first people fall into it, I mean, it looks like something DJ would
The
make.
people-
And I love
the
DJ.
people-
like a rush job. Boom.
The
Looks so
people
bad.
running around next to, like, the section falls down, then you see the people next to him running around. It just, like, that mesh was just not, it's not good. They do not look
Yeah.
right
The
there.
piece that fell on Gannicus was atrocious.
But also, it's like, because it looks terrible, but also what made me laugh out loud, very, very heartily laugh out loud, was how, like, in order to defend himself, finger quotes, he just kind of he takes, like, this weird stance, lifting a sword over his head, just like that, like, that's kind of his block. Like, I will just let it fall on the sword, and it will just, slice itself in two, like I am an anime character.
You got to roll with it. Clearly, they did not have the budget that they probably would have wanted. I did not get a chance to listen to the audio commentary tracks of either one of those, but I will go back and listen to this one because I'm curious as to what they say
Guys,
about that
I'm
sequence.
going all in blind this hand.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, that's what we do. I mean, I've busted so many times tonight. What's another
Yeah,
10,000?
Giggity,
Who cares?
giggity, giggity.
Finish your thoughts, Matt.
Yeah. I will say all the stuff with the Lithia. Whoops. How do I? Here we go. Hold on. I think these past two episodes were probably the two strongest episodes acting-wise by Viva Bianca. I thought she was awesome as Alithia in both these
The
episodes.
highest of highs and the lowest of lows.
Yeah, just like the looks and the evilness and the I mean, it was just so good. And yeah, I thought this episode was fantastic, and I can't wait to win all my money back.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah,
There you go.
almost everybody's in. Oh, that's a shitty hand.
Oh, hey!
What do I got?
I don't like this.
Ace two.
Give me fives
Oh,
and tens.
fuck! We got
Fives
three
and tens.
aces out there.
So there's
Fives. That's not. Oh, jeez. Okay,
Queens.
that doesn't help
No one's
anybody.
got queens.
Come on, give me a 5. Give me a 5. No.
Oh.
Now I need a 10.
Oh, motherfucker!
Oh.
You got the 10?
Yeah!
Yeah!
Yeah! I was looking at all those clubs and I was like, all those
Holy
spades, and I was
crap.
like, wait a minute, I finally won one! Eat my fucking asshole, you cocksuckers!
I still had some money left. I'm leaving. I've won so much. I have nothing else to say. This episode was great.
Next week, Chosen Path, Episode 6 of Season 2 of Vengeance. We'll see you then, everybody.